So let's look at Captain Moroni's skills as described in the war chapters. As I read over these, try to think of skills you may need to develop in your spiritual battles. Some of these skills include him using visible symbols to remind, declare loyalty, and build morale. Holding group rallies to strengthen resolve. Developing hand-to-hand battle skill. Building clever defensive structures. Preaching to build faith and unity. Wisely deploying key leaders. Using peacetime to secure strategic perimeter with forces as well as settlements. Leveraging previous success to recruit during peacetime. And building political and popular support before taking on enemies. Creatively solving problems and developing tactics. And deploying forces strategically. Now I want to focus on a few of these that are in bold, using visible symbols, building defensive structures, and deploying key leaders. Captain Moroni's defenses were mentioned in Alma chapter 48. We read that it started with erecting small forts or places of resort, throwing up banks of earth round about to enclose his armies, building walls of stone to encircle them about, round about their cities and the borders of their lands, yea, all round about the land. And in the weakest fortifications he did place the greater number of men. Let's look at defense number 1, small forts, places of resort, and earth. Now the purpose of banks of earth is to put distance between us and the enemy. Small forts and places of resort could be simple and short in duration activities that you can do or places you can go during moments of duress. This is a lot of work, but if you will do it well enough, the earth and forts will be so high that the enemy will not cast their stones and their arrows at them that they might take effect. So, what are your small forts, places of resort, or earth? Defense number 2, walls of stone. Now stone is symbolic in meaning. Christ is the stone. He is the rock of our salvation. He is the cornerstone of the church. He is referred to as a rock and fortress. Christ refers to himself as the rock of heaven. First line of defense in Moroni's defensive plan. Moroni surrounded the entire cities and borders of the land with stone walls. So as we look at this picture, we see it gives us a better visual on how Christ is our rock. So what do you need to do to bring Christ closely into your life that you would benefit from his full defense against the assaults that will come? Defense number 3, men and women. Moroni understood that no matter how much earth and stone he used, there would be vulnerable areas in the cities, easier places for the enemy to approach. There were, for example, entrances to the cities through which people could come and go during times of peace. These were access points for Amalekiah's hosts as well. So Moroni placed his most powerful warriors in these places to protect the vulnerable. And in a conference talk by Elder Holland referring to ministering, he shares an experience of two friends and one who went to the rescue of another. He said, "In this story is John Manning, home teacher extraordinaire. I frankly don't know on what schedule John and his junior companion made visits to the Russell home, or what message was given when they got there, or how they reported the experience. What I do know is that last spring, Brother Manning reached down and picked Troy Russell up off the tragedy of that driveway just as he were picking up little Austin himself. Like the home teacher or watchman, or brother in the gospel he was supposed to be. John simply took over the priesthood care and keeping of Troy Russell. So who are your most faithful allies? Alma 43 gives us some detail about their armor and what they were protecting. In verse 38, it says, while on the other hand, there was now and then a man fell among the Nephites by their swords and the loss of blood, they being shielded from the more vital parts of the body, or the more vital parts of the body being shielded from the strokes of the Lamanites by their breastplates and their arm shields and their head plates. And thus the Nephites did carry on the work of death among the Lamanites. So what did they try to protect as vital parts? With the breastplate, they were protecting the heart. The head plate, they were protecting the brain. And the arm shield was protecting their limbs. And we can see how as we put on our spiritual armor, we can protect our feelings, thoughts, and actions. So what are we doing to maintain control and safeguard our feelings, thoughts, and actions? How are we shielding these vital parts from the adversary and his army?